Hey guys, my name is Maysam and in this video we are going to have a quick look at course contents. But first, let me tell you, you do not need to have any prior experience or knowledge of any kind to take this course. Since it's a huge course, I divided it into two phases. At phase 1, we are going to learn every fundamental skill that an Android developer needs. And by the end of it, we are able to build any application that we want. The first session is the introduction, which is this video and the setting up process. We will install Android Studio and things like Java Development Kit and our emulator. We probably change some of Android Studio's preferences to make it nicer and easier to use. Right after that, we will make our first application. Yes, you heard me right. We are ready to make our first application. Not a complex one, of course, but a small one to get familiar with making a new project process and also with some of Android Studio's Windows and environment. You probably know that most of Android applications are being made with Java. Not all of them, there are some other options, but for now we are going to learn Java. I have a surprise for you at the end of this video. I'm pretty sure you will be excited about it. So stay tuned. But in this session, we will learn things like variables, arrays, operators, and more complex things like object-oriented programming, polymorphism, inheritance. It will be a detailed session and we will learn a lot. After learning Java, it's time to learn about user interface. Basically, user interface is a fancy name for how the app looks like, or how the app is being shown to the user. It's easy and necessary, so we are going to learn it at the beginning. Now that we know Java and user interface, we are ready to make our first major project. So let's practice everything we have learned so far. In the next session, we are going to learn testing Android applications. In making new apps, you are going to make a lot of mistakes and we are going to learn how to find and deal with those mistakes at the shortest time. Also, we are going to learn a bit about the environment we are working with, knowing some shortcuts and some tricks to work faster and more efficient with Android Studio. That's a little fancy name, but basically, activities are one of the most important components of every Android application. Fragments are what makes your application to be able to look and behave in different configurations, like different screen sizes, or on different devices. After that, we will learn how to do tasks in the background. Generally, you can't and shouldn't do heavy stuff like downloading a video or converting a file in the main thread that user is seeing, because it will block the user and will make a bad user experience and can even cause crashes. We don't want that in our application, so we are going to learn how to do our tasks in the background. Don't be scared of the term thread data used, it will be clear in Java session. Also, background working is one of those topics that Google has changed a lot recently. So, even if you are an experienced Android developer, you can benefit from this session. Next, we will take a look at networking, or connecting our app to the internet, by receiving and sending files and messages. Up to this point, we have learned a lot and we need to see those skills in practice, so we are going to have our second major application. When we speak of databases, we speak of permanent data storage. I mean, we don't want to lose the user's data when he closes the app or when he restarts his phone. In this session, we will learn how to make databases and how to save data or query data from databases. We will start by creating a SQLite database, and after that, we will work with Room database. Next session is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to learn how to add YouTube and Google Maps functionality in our applications. I mean, like all of them. You will be able to play YouTube videos in your applications. You will be able to track your users' location. And of course, a lot more. To be honest, this was the topic that I was afraid during my learnings. It can be hard and it scares most of the developers, even professionals. But we are not going to fear of our fears, we are going to face them. By learning content providers, you will be able to access other applications' data like messages and contacts. You will be able to share your application's information or data with other applications. You will be able to build widgets for your application, and of course, a lot more. We are going to spend quite amount of time and learn all of those mentioned. We have added many more skills into our Android toolbox, so we need to see them in action and practice them once again. So we need to have a major project once again. It can be added to your portfolio as well. Next, we will learn about notifications, how to send them, how to listen to them, how to take actions upon them, and a lot more. It's one of those topics that Google has changed a lot recently. So once again, even if you are an experienced Android developer, you will benefit from this session. After that, we will work with files, I mean images and audios and those kind of stuff. We will learn how to save them, convert them, and rename them, and of course a lot more. Working with files is one of those things that you need to be careful about, because if you make a little mistake, it can easily cause memory leaks and crashes and bad user experience. In the next session, you will learn how to build a user-friendly audio and video player, one that has the ability to add advertisements in between videos, stream online and offline, adding playlists, and a lot more. We are almost done with phase 1 and have learned almost all the fundamental skills that we need in order to create a real-world functional application. So we will make one. Working with Google as a developer has its own tricks. There are a lot of things that can guarantee your app's success or failure in the publishing process. So we will take a look at that process as well. Phase 1 is done and you are ready to build, test, and publish any application that you want. But why do we need phase 2? Because if you want to have better chances of getting a good job, you are needed to have other skills as well, because industry demands those skills. In another word, in phase 2, you are going to be a job-ready developer and learn absolutely everything that helps you land your first job. The first of those skills is Git. Basically, Git is a version control system and you can manage different versions of your code during the time. But why one would want that? Because projects can go big very quick and have several programmers work on them at the same time. It's a real need for an above average team to manage their different versions of code. But nowadays you can do much more on Git, and especially its community GitHub. Things like sharing codes, contribute in open source community, fixing other people's projects and gain reputation by that, and a lot more. So everyone in the industry needs you to know Git if you are applying for their job offers. Next, we will take a look at some useful libraries. Basically, a library is some piece of code that somebody else has written, and you can use it in your project. There are plenty of useful libraries out there, and we are going to take advantage of a few of them like Retrofit and OAuth to easily make our apps more efficient and secure. PHP is a programming language that is being used to write web server applications. What that means is that you will be able to connect to your web server and database on the cloud. Means that you can process and store data in the server side and not in the user side. This session is really rare and you won't find that much PHP and Android tutorials together. Those are two different languages that need to talk to each other. That's not easy, but we are going to cover that. Firebase is a platform supported by Google that gives developers some very useful and easy to use capabilities. Things like analyze reports, when your application had crashes, how users spent their time in your application. Things like authentication, I mean those sign up, login, and log out processes. Those has been very easy with Firebase. Also things like sending notifications, web server, cloud database. Most of its utilities are free at first and you will only get billed when your application goes really big. Knowing Firebase will make your chances of getting a good job really higher. There will be always someone who will review your code, right now or 1 year later. Or even you yourself might need to check your code after a few years. So it's better practice to follow some general rules that developers have among them, and write code in a specific style. To be brutally honest with you, no one will respect you if your code won't have a solid architecture. We will learn about the MVVM architecture, also known as Model View View Model. In the next session, we will take a look at some hardware and sensors. There are too many of them and we won't be able to cover all of them, but we will cover things like Bluetooth and NFC. You will find this part really enjoyable. As a developer, you will spend most of your time debugging yours or others' code, so you need to have a solid understanding of how to do that. We will look at UI testing and Espresso library and a lot more. Finally, this is my surprise. Kotlin is another language that Android applications can be written with. And not just a language, it has Google's support behind it. Since 2017, it's official, and in every move since then, Google has tried to make developers to use Kotlin instead of Java. Many companies are rewriting their apps from Java to Kotlin, and Kotlin is a plus for finding new jobs, so we will learn it together. Our course is done, and we are going to have a final project as our course result. We will spend twice as other projects on this one, and it will contain all that we have learned up until this point. It seems like a long journey, but everyone should take it. No one can teach you Android development in just 10 hours. You need to learn a lot and you need to practice a lot. That's what we are going to do in this course. So stay tuned for the next video on setting up our environment. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.